Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing today? I just want to have an audio check. If you could hear me clearly, if you could just say yes on the chat, let us make use of the chat effectively. Say yes or just do an emoji, a thumbs up. Thank you, Mr. Adze, for that. Thank you so much for confirming. We'll start shortly. We just want to ensure that others can also join in. Although the meeting is also, I mean, the training is also recorded and live on YouTube. So that means to say whatever we are doing here, we can share it via YouTube later. So those of you who hasn't subscribed and liked and share our YouTube channel, you can go ahead and look at us at YouTube. I would like to confirm whether you can see our slide over here, just to ensure that everything is visible. Another thumbs up if that would be not too much for our audience. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Hello, everyone. My name is Ruby Ross. I am a Filipino residing currently based in Abuja. I am a sustainable agribusiness innovator and has been in the sustainable practice for over a decade now. Okay, I want to just hold on. Let me see the YouTube.
Okay. And
I'm getting a feedback somewhere. Okay, I think it's better now.
yes.
Amazing.
But this is
Let me stop share and share again. Canva. Okay, I think we're almost set. Could you see me? Good morning, wherever you are coming from, hearing from Nigeria. I'd like you to just type your name, your organization, and which states are you in right now. If you could hear me clearly and see me, I'd like to know where you are sharing from. My name is Ruby Ross, Ambassador Ruby Ross. They call me sometimes as I'm really pushing for agro-tourism for Nigeria and the rest of Africa. So I'd like to see some thumbs up if you could see me clearly, if you could hear me clearly, as I don't really see the chat box very well. Um, Let me see if my other account could join in so that, okay, I can see the thumbs up now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for today. This is the maiden edition of our Green Skills series. Green Skills series and understanding it better and how it could benefit us. And the first item that we're going to talk about green skills is waste management. So before we dive in into that, I'd like to introduce myself properly. Ambassador Ruby Ross from the Philippines, staying and based in Abuja, Nigeria, a sustainable agribusiness innovator, pushing in microbiome technology in Africa. I am also the founder and CEO of CHC AGRITECH Africa, at the same time serving as the Vice President of the Organic Agriculture Foundation of Nigeria. And since we are talking about tourism, we are the head for tourism at the International Society of Diplomats, where we serve as an ambassador, which is present in more than 40 countries across the country. So I just want to have some little understanding rules that if we can make use of the group chats. Well, let's maximize the group chats, and anywhere in between the meeting, you can actually ask me questions. You can ask me questions. You could send in your question, and I hope to answer them while we are discussing. So let me open the chat group. I can see that, yes, good morning, Mr. Chinonso Obasi. Thank you. We have Adenike Adedeji. Yes, we have joining from Abuja, Nigeria, founder Marvita Integrated. Oh, yes, our snail farmer is here. Then we have from Gambia. That's amazing. We're going across the African countries as well. Mr. Adedoyin of the Take Action, sir. Oh, grassroots development champions. Yes. So I think more and more are still joining us, and so I'll stop sharing first. We'll dive more on the purpose of the meeting and why we are here today. So green skills. Green Skills Hub is a initiative of CHC AGRITECH Africa, whereby we look into how we can integrate our culture and how we could integrate our day-to-day lives in being sustainable and how to be environmentally conscious. At the same time, it could also provide us skills, capacity building that will enhance our personal knowledge and capacity in terms of job hunting, job creation, and even in our own businesses. Yes, I can see Ola Waleoni from Osogbo, Osun State. I haven't visited your state, sir. The closest I got is Lagos, Ondo, Ibadan in Oyo. I look forward to come and see your dancing governor in Osun State. Mr. Shedrack Onaji, an agripreneur. That's nice. Agricultural extension. You're gonna be part of our team in training and in teaching farmers since you're in the agri extension. So you could incorporate this green skills on us. Later, we'll open the group and we'll unmute everybody for us to have some live interaction. But for the meantime, to really have a very more robust listening and harmony in the training, would like to use the chat box to maximize the chat box. You can greet, you can say where you are, you can introduce yourself, your company, and then let us know what interests you, what do you do, your questions along the way. We will read them one by one as we're doing the presentation. We'll try to answer them all. Yes. And so the duration of this training is 1 hour, and whatever green skills is quite a broad topic. It's a broad thing. There are different sections on it. And what we will do is we'll try our best to maximize the 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and a half maximum to be able to get value from this training series. And since it's a series, after this, we're gonna agree when is our next series of training so that we can have it continued. We also initiated to put it on our YouTube channel. So you might like to like and subscribe and perhaps share this YouTube link. If those people who could not join us today, they can join in or they can watch this via our YouTube channel. But since we have started officially, I'd like to record this meeting. Just give me a moment. Officially, you are listening and you are attending the 2026 series for Green Skills Hub. My name is Ambassador Ruby Ross, Sustainable Agribusiness Innovator, live here in Abuja. I am from the Philippines, but my heart beats for Africa. And today we're going to delve more about composting as one of the green skills. But let's talk about it. What is really green skills and why waste management and composting is very key, and also incorporating microbiome technology or probiotics, or we call them friendly microbes, is very, very key in what we are doing. This training series will go for 1 hour and perhaps an interaction of 15 to 30 minutes interaction with you. And this green skills is intended for everybody, most especially the youths of today, our young people, which is about half of the population of Nigeria, are very, very young. And this is also very useful for our farmers. the unsung heroes of the country, which is about 50 to 70 million comprising population in the country. This is also intended for community members, those that are living in your households, estates, rural communities, and even in urban and peri-urban um, locations. And of course, for agripreneurs, farm enthusiasts, agricultural extension workers, agribusiness innovators, this is also a great training that we could incorporate in our day-to-day work. So the goal of this training is to provide awareness. Awareness is very key. And because when we have awareness, knowledge is power. And so we'll try our best to provide you the practices that we do and the areas where we could share what we do in other countries and also what we are already doing at CHC AgriTech Africa and expand this awareness so we could create that impact. So this training will also provide us direction and trust that we could actually do this by ourselves in our community, even in our household. Yes. And we would like to also know our next step commitments. Through this training, we'd like to see how we can put ourselves together and come up with projects that would really impact the lives of our rural workers, rural farmers, our community people, and everybody in general. Yeah. So again, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, still good morning, and wherever you are in Africa, good hour to you, whether it's morning, evening, or noontime over there. Thank you for joining the Green Skills Hub community. This session is not about overwhelming you with too much information, too much technical knowledge. We will try as much as possible to help you understand where the world is already going right now and where Nigeria fits and where you fit into this aspect as well. So today we may be able to talk about food, about topics about food, about waste, about soil, about jobs and income. Income, yes, income generating, and how all of this are now connected through green skills. So at the end of the session, I want every one of you to be able to answer one simple question. Let's have a little bit of a challenge over here. One simple question for yourself. And if you're listening to me right now, this is the question that I'd like you to answer at the end of the session. Um, what is the pathway that makes sense for me at the end of this training? So maybe your plans, your pathway, what's your next steps? We are seeing joining us Sally Bukar, an administrator and agripreneur profession, Maidoki Farms, Abuja, and from Adamawa. Wow. Yusuf produces organic compost already. Wow, and organic oil as herbicide and animal feed. That's a very lovely green skill, sir. Thank you. Probably you could be one of our resource person in sharing this specific topic with us in one of our training series in the future. So let's keep our microphones muted for now and use the chat to ask questions. There will be time for discussion later. Okay. So let me start with a simple truth. Um, the world has changed, not like before, and um, I would say that it's a different world right now. But many people are still using the old skills, the old ways, they say that the way of life. However, we don't want to entirely change their way of life, but we would like to like strengthen them. And by strengthening them, we could adopt some certain practices that would allow us to align with to align with our current activities in the world. So let me see if I can move this one here. Okay, on top like that. Yes, fantastic. Everybody can see my slides, right? Yes. All right. So I cannot see the chat box right now, but I'll take a look whether uh I'll take a look. How do I see the chat box? I don't know. Let me see. Maybe I'll do this in a less presenting mode. It's okay. Where's the chat box? Okay. I think I can see the chat box over here. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any messages that we have. Okay, so just like I've said, the world is different now. And one of the factors on that is this climate change is not a theory anymore. Every year, 1.5 kilometer from the Sahara Desert is encroaching to our normal, normal what to call this one normal locations. So it's getting warmer and warmer, and we are currently experiencing floodings. In Nigeria, they have reported that about 20 states will have experienced or will experience flooding in 2025. And then we experience that our farmers are having poor harvests. And then also the rising food prices is there, giving a difficulty for our people to really buy the food that they want to eat. And even the availability of the food that you want to eat is not available throughout the season. So we've also noticed that a lot of waste are blocking our drainages, and this is also contributing to flooding and hazards, as well as as well as some environmental negative impacts. Yes, at the end of the training, we'll provide you our email address, sir. It should be part of the slides. Yes. So governments, private companies, and even foreign countries are responding by the changing laws. We're doing a lot of policies, changing our policies that will align to what is currently happening in the world, and also they are also changing their hiring standards. They would like to hire agriculturists that is not just agriculture, but climate smart agricultural officers. You see, so there is some tweak over there. So if you are an agri extension, if you have such green skills, by the way, this training, we provide certificate for this training. The training is free, but the certificate is not, because we have some partnerships with our international institutes that there is a fee for the certificates. I will share an email address and a phone number at the end of the training for you to submit your name if you are interested to do the certificate. The certificate will be announced how the mechanics of you getting the certificate later. That is if you just want to get a certificate, just in case you are applying for any job that may need some green skills. And sometimes it is also nice to put it in your portfolio so that people will no longer have to ask you whether you have attended such kind of training. Yeah. And so to continue our discussion, today, skills related to sustainable agriculture, waste management, soil health, especially livestock without excessive use of chemicals and antibiotics is no longer optional. It has become a requirement. Like for instance, Saudi Arabia or the Middle East, they have a zero antibiotic law. That means to say they can only bring meats that is not reared with antibiotics. So these are the things. There are also organic agriculture certifications abroad. And in Nigeria, we have Organic Agriculture Foundation of Nigeria, where we sit as the vice president of this organization. So very soon, we'll also share with you some organic farming trainings, both online and physically, perhaps in your own state. In Abuja, we can accommodate organic farming training for 30 students at a time. We have a training center in Abuja for those who have clustered farmers who would like to get certified on organic farming training. So moving forward, I'd like to engage you with a very question. So who here has noticed that farming, food prices, or waste problems are getting worse each year? Is farming getting worse each year, or is it getting better? Are food prices getting higher, or it's getting cheaper? Or waste problems, is it getting more, increasing the volume? Okay, you cannot hear me? So let me try to remove my earphone and see whether we can interact better. Let's do a sound check.
Can you hear me? Thumbs up on the chat, yes or no? Somebody saying I should increase my volume. I just want to make sure that we can all hear each other. Can you hear me? Wow. Yes, okay, thank you so much. That is a very good one. Communication is very key to this discussion. So, just like I've said, we have noticed that farming, food prices, and waste problems is getting worse every single year. And I'd like to hear some of your responses on this on the chat. What are your challenges in farming? What are your waste problem challenges? And why do you think, what is your insight? Why do you think that food prices continue to rise? You can share. It's not bad to share. It's good that we interact via our chat box. For now, later we will have a more live discussion. Okay. So moving forward, let's start with crops, but remember this presentation or this training is focused on waste management. But I'll just like to give you a little brief, on food. We'll still go back to tailor fitted for food innovation later on green skills. So many farmers already complain that fertilizer is expensive. Agree or disagree? Yes, fertilizer is becoming so expensive despite the fact that it's also very, very scarce, and yields are even still reducing. Imagine we are using a lot of fertilizer. It's getting so expensive, and yet we are still having
All right.
issues on yields. The yields
Th-
are
Thank you very much.
reducing year by year. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna make Joshua here as our co-host, so that just to assist me uh on some things that probably to mute and to whatever assistance. Yeah. So fertilizer cost has been getting expensive, but yields are reducing. And our soil is no longer responding the way it used to be. Our soil is getting weaker and weaker. It's no longer as fertile as it was before. And then the problem is actually does not only dwell on fertilizer, but the problem is soil health. So soil health. So in green skills, there is a specific topic focused on just soil health explanation. And that one is something that we should look forward, because soil is not just dirt. Soil is a living system which is made up of many things that we could enhance and continue to rejuvenate. It should be alive. It should provide life. And when soil is alive, it provides life to the plants that grows on them. So basically, our soil is made of organic matter, majorly, and it is also made up of microorganisms, and soil is also have air and water. And so if air and water is no longer present in our soils, that means to say the soil is dead, the soil is not alive. So this particular conversation on soil is applicable not just for those that are doing crops, but even for those that are doing snail farming, where snails thrive on soil. And mind you, taking care of the soil is a lot of benefits, because if we don't take care of the soil, our water filtration through the soil is not gonna be great. So it will definitely affect water quality. It will also affect soil, what to call this one, roads, and road network, because if our soil is easily eroded, we'll have issues on soil erosion, and so road constructions will not be as concrete, or not be as strong as can serve the general public. Apart from that, as we are not taking care of the soil, we are also increasing the chances of floodings in our environment. So taking care of the soil actually takes care of a lot of things. Okay? So when soil is alive, crops grow better with fewer inputs, and on the contrary, when soil is dead, no amount of fertilizer will fix it. So it's not about bringing so much fertilizer into your soil. It's about bringing in the component that will keep your soil alive. And this is where CHC Agritech will also come in to help you work on your soil health, manage your soil very well. So the microbiome technology comes in, where beneficial microbes help break down organic matter and unlock nutrient already in the soil. So these are tiny little soldiers unseen by your naked eyes that are always there, trillions, quadrillions, quintillions in number. And the more that you build an enabling environment for them, the less stress that you will have in your farming system, because it builds up your soil. It improves water retention, which is very component in growing our plants, and unlocking these nutrients, making sure that the 16 macro and micronutrients is available for our plants, apart from the sunlight, of course, that the plants would need. So this will also reduce our dependency on chemicals, which we know that chemicals run off affects our aquaculture systems, our water, our air for greenhouse gas emissions. And it also affects our soil health, whereby other biology does not thrive anymore when we bombard our farms with so much chemicals. The same goes for the livestock producers. When we depend so much on chemicals, it also makes, or it weakens our animals, our poultry, our livestock, our pets, making them more susceptible to, to diseases. So when they are now sick, you tend to use more chemicals. So in this session, we will also train green skills so that we reduce the dependency on chemicals and help community members, household members, individuals, farmers transition from conventional or chemical dependency into more sustainable practices, whereby we advocate organic practices or agroecology. So many countries are now promoting microbial fertilizers or probiotics, because chemical overuse is destroying our soils and they're destroying our waters, thus humanity as well. So I think more and more people are joining us. Again, we are live on YouTube. You could actually click this link and share later for those who has missed our training. You can like and subscribe and share our YouTube channel. There are many other educational information there that you can get. And so our learning continues. So crop residue during dry season. It's a practice in Nigeria that we burn crop residue, and it destroys the soil life. You imagine that when you are burning the waste, or the post harvest waste, or the weeds into the soil, right? It oozes out the oxygen content of the soil. So what does this mean? We said that air is one component of soil health. So when there is no presence of oxygen in the soil, all those biology in the soil, microorganisms, could not thrive. And these are the things that makes your soil alive. And so, during managing the residue properly, improves soil fertility. It's okay to burn because you could create carbon on it, which is the soil would like to have some carbon component, but it shouldn't be a practice. It is against the practice of organic farming. It builds so much emission into, we're releasing so much carbon in the air. And so, apart from that, we are killing the habitat of some existing wildlife or biological entities in the environment. So that's why you noticed along the road when there is a burning in somewhere in a farming community, you will see the birds flying out of the on the roads because we have actually disrupted their habitat. So this biology, this wildlife has a way of, working in our ecosystem that preserves life. So this is burning actually is prohibited in organic farming. And so, dry season farming is also becoming important because we eat continuously. We eat every single day. In fact, 3 times a day. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but we only farm in one season. Remember, the crops does not need rain. It needs water. So, with the availability of moisture in the soil, when we know how to enhance soil, we can actually do crop farming even in absence of rain by just making sure that we have water retention inputs that we are putting in our soil. Then we can cultivate, harvest continuously all year round. So food prices are becoming higher, competition, and then skills matter more than the land size. Sometimes, even if you have 100 hectares, when you don't have the right agronomic practice, you tend to spend more and get lesser harvest. But if you are very skilled, your capacity is increased. Even if you're just farming
Oh, thank you,
in
Mike. Best,
in one
best
hectare, even
continue.
you're just farming in
Thank you,
one
Albert.
hectare, and then you are getting a number of tonnages of harvest, that is really more amazing because you are maximizing your land. On the same land, imagine if one farmer have 2 hectares farming on maize and getting 1 ton per hectare, but another farmer in 1 hectare gets 3 tons or 4 tons of maize. So you see the difference. Lesser cost, lesser labor because he's using 1 hectare, but because he is skilled to take care of the soil health and do composting and other agronomic practice, he has more yield, and this optimizes the harvest. So farming is about numbers, it's about business, it's not just about our culture, it's about adapting climate smart practices incorporated and strengthening our culture to achieve optimum harvest. So our key message for our farmers out there is modern crop farming is no longer about more chemicals, okay? Trust me. Philippines have started embracing chemicals and fertilizers ahead of Nigeria, ahead of Africa. And where we are right now, we are trying to really push our RA Organic Farming Act 168, whereby 10% of the farmland for every farmer has to be converted into organic farming. And year after year, another 10% is converted year after year until all the farmland is now practicing organic farming because chemicals has really dealt with us. It has dealt with us. Exports are no longer accepted much. It has reduced the quality standards of um, agricultural produce. It has diminished the quality of the soil. It has affected and increase the problems on climate change, emissions, and all. And so, quality food is no longer there as well. So, nutrition is also affected. It is about better soil management. So, this should be the takeaway for those who are farming. Okay? So briefly moving forward, we'll discuss a bit about poultry and aquaculture, and then we'll now move to waste management. So, poultry and fish are the fastest sources of protein and income, most especially poultry, because it is white meat. In 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you can already have white meat. The conversion rate is higher compared to ruminants like goats and cows. So, and fish as well, 1:1. For every 1 kg of feed, you get 1 kg of meat. So these are the fastest protein, and it's something that we can grow in our backyard, even in old tanks or small drums, and what's this, small aquaculture system, whereby you could grow a few of them, maybe 20, 50 fishes that could just provide you for your consumption. Because what if another COVID-19 comes tomorrow? Where do we source our food? It's not even a matter of whether you can buy or not. Even if you can afford food, during those times, it's about checking or understanding that where can I get food, because production has been disrupted. Even in countries like Brazil, Germany, where they produce a lot of meat, a lot of wheat, in Ukraine and Russia, the production of all these have been disrupted because of COVID-19. So what if you grow your own food and have this food easily available? If you have your greens, you have some source of your carbs, carbohydrates, and some proteins, you're good to go. At least it's a mitigating factor. It's not everything that you go and buy in the market. You always have something that your children can use and mitigate the situation. Yeah. But they are also under serious global scrutiny now. Like, just like I mentioned, the Middle Eastern people are doing zero antibiotics. So we've been depending on antibiotics, and this has also affected human health. The level of resistance of these antibiotics has put a toll on the health of humanity. And so a lot of medical issues that our people are facing, children having cancer at a very young age, to the area. So we need to look into natural remedies first before we move on to chemical things. So antibiotic resistance, human health risks, and environmental pollution is all affecting us. So why we need this training is because even how clean I am and how organic and how natural my practices are, if my neighbor 5 meters away, 10 meters away is spreading a lot of chemicals, it's still being, sent towards me as the air blows, it's still affecting the whole community. But if you and me and the whole community are practicing this sustainable practice, everybody will definitely be impacted. Everybody will definitely benefit on it. So this means that farms are being forced to adopt preventive and probiotic based system. This is the solution, because when we are putting ourselves in having the option of um, zero chemicals first, then it becomes a mitigating factor for us to open opportunities to have this premium market. Imagine the president just signed an off-taking agreement with Saudi, with the Middle East, that Nigeria can supply large amounts of meat. Yes, we do produce large amounts of meat, but we need to revisit the way we are doing meat production here, because we are depending so much on chemicals. We have to do something about it so that our meat would have a premium value, not just locally, but most especially locally. You don't want to be eating so much chemicals on your meat tissues. Yeah. So the role of probiotics here or the friendly microbes improve the gut health of the animals. So, and you know, the gut is the central point where it determines whether the animal would be sick or the animal would die, you know. So, with this, we can reduce diseases and improve their feed efficiency. So imagine for a bag of feed that you are giving them, you are sure that that bag of feed is properly consumed. So I want to make sure that we are still on the dots. We are now 11:50. I think in the next 15 to 20 minutes we'll open the floor for question and answer portion. Yeah. And then with this, it could reduce mortality rates. Mortality is killing our poultry businesses and our livestock business. So if we can reduce mortality to the zero level, that means it's a very profitable business. The same thing goes for aquaculture. Probiotics will improve the water. That's why it's called aquaculture. The culture is in the water. If the water is bad, water is fish, fish is water. Then if the water is bad, definitely fish won't thrive because water contains oxygen. And when dissolved oxygen is depleted, that means to say that fish won't be able to thrive very well. And so this translates to growth rates for our fish growth. We will have a separate section on aquaculture and a separate session for poultry, separate session for livestock slash goat production. Probably we need to fill a survey of what kind of farming system do you do so that we can tailor fit to a specific green skill that we could train. Remember, this is the maiden edition of our green skills. So remember that poultry and fish, they excrete wastes. Yeah, this waste can become a problem or it can become a resource. So it's up to you how you're going to make use of it. When poultry and fish is actually eliminating or emitting rather ammonia and methane, this becomes a problem because this chokes the animals, the poultry and the fishes. But when we know how to utilize the resource, how to translate the water waste, and how to make use of the poultry waste into useful thing that would generate income, then it's up to you. It depends on how you really put in your skills and your vision on it. So either the poor waste management could lead you to odor, which is a very bad thing in farming. It could lead you to disease, and it could lead you to a general environmental pollution. So proper waste handling connects directly to composting and soil health. This is where our green skills on composting, on waste management is now very, very key. So our key message for our livestock farmers over there, our fish system managers, that clean livestock and fish systems are not just good practice, they are becoming market requirements. So right now, we are checking whether your fish has heavy metals, if the coliforms are high. They will check if there are certain hormones you are using in your feeds that is not good for the health. These are certain requirements that farmers don't even know and bother about, but we in the sustainable practice, we need to guide cooperatives and farmers on this matter. Yeah. So moving forward, in Nigeria, over half of the waste that we generate every day is organic. Imagine, over half of the waste that we generate every day is organic. And we say that the soil needs organic matter, a major component of the soil. And this organic matter can be utilized in many, many ways. So where are these coming from? These are coming from food wastes. Every day we are producing food waste from the household to your kitchen. Just go and check your kitchen. How much it gets filled in a day. Yeah. And then we go out there to the markets. At the end of the day, you see a lot of food waste there. Rotten fruits, rotten vegetables, all bunch of organic waste are out there. Then we also have farm waste. After harvesting or while we are farming, there are certain waste that are being produced. So how do we go about it? When we are removing the maize from the corn cobs, what do we do with the corn cobs? What do we do with with the leaves of those the shell of those corn, the sugar cane. After we are slashing everything, what do we do with it? Who collects those oranges, orange peels? These are the things. And when even the livestock, the animal waste, we mentioned something about aquaculture water waste, and we mentioned something about poultry waste, the cow dung, the poultry waste, our animal, animal excretions. So when this waste is poorly managed, we get flooding. Apart from flooding, flooded with diseases, because all this has pathogen overload, has infections. So where does this go? This goes to our water, it seeps down to our soil, it's being emitted in the air. Everybody hears it, everybody smells it. There, very soon you'll have vectors like flies transferring it. You will have mosquitoes. You will encourage more eggs of flies and mosquitoes there. And then when these tiny tiny insects are there, you'll now encourage cockroaches, because cockroaches feeds on mosquitoes and flies. So by the time you have cockroaches, you now encourage bigger animals, which are what? Guess it what? Rats. Rats, other things. So it's just a continuous domino effect of problems. So when we don't deal with half population of amounts of organic waste that we have, either from the urban or the rural areas, we will be in trouble. An average Nigerian produce half a kilo of waste, and 60% of that are organic materials, paper, wood, and anything that is subject to decomposition. These are the waste that we produce. So I just want to go check you out if you're still here and if you're enjoying this conversation. I'd like to see your thumbs up or any emojis that you see. Just want to make sure that we are still all together in this conversation. Moving forward, when we are doing composting, you notice that composting actually have different ways, right? We have a landfill reduction. So these are methods of composting. Yeah, these are the global trends. So um, we try to reduce the landfill, okay, by diminishing them. So we create some heaps like this and keep on aerating them. Yeah. So the landfill is very important to be kept checked, because when the landfill is not kept checked, we will find more landfills, another landfill, and by the time that we keep doing that, you'll realize that every places you will just make it as a landfill, and then there's no more space. In fact, I've been traveling across the country. You will realize that in some areas, most especially the southeast, some areas in the southeast, most especially if they are close to market, south area that are close to market, half of the road leading to the market is filled with waste. And at times, they stay there for over a week, that flies and other things. Even small children or those that are into waste collection are collecting them. And this is very hazardous for their health. Yeah. So in some countries, like the likes of Korea, the European countries, they have increased the regulation on organic waste disposal. As much as possible, they try to provide regulations of 3 R's: the reduce, reuse, and recycle. So you need to, like, if you have a waste, you need to learn how to reduce it. You need to reuse it. If you cannot reduce, you have to reuse it. And when you cannot reuse them anymore, how do you go about it to recycle it? Maybe turn them into another thing. So this is where the green skills of circular economy also comes in. Then we have what you call climate impacts. Where in composting, it regulates, or it reduces our methane emissions effectively, because when waste are lying down there, the methane component is increasing, and we know that this is a very bad greenhouse gas. So we're trying to decarbonize it, we're trying to reduce our emissions. Yeah. So moving forward to our slides, it is very important to have this biological breakdown. Yeah. And just like any other SOP, standard operating procedures or rules and regulation, composting also has its own fundamentals. And we need to understand that composting can only be effective when we understand the biological process. There is a component of biological breakdown and a controlled process which is done by microbes. So these microbes are so powerful in breaking down this biological waste. And in turn, as they break it down, they create nutrient-rich soil. This nutrient-rich soil are now gonna be good to create a very good soil health, healthy soils, and of course, healthy soils bring in healthy plants. So we don't have to use so much fertilizer, and we keep on building our soil until they reach deep down into the deepest part of it. And when organic matter is very high and when compost is done properly with included in our soils, it compacts the soil, that makes the soil also very strong for, adaptable for floodings and for reducing erosions. Yeah. So this is a very interesting conversation because composting should not be just done in the household, but when it's done in an industrial way, in a larger way, everybody just compost it. Imagine we make sure that we are doing zero waste, zero organic waste. You will be very very happy, and the earth will be more cooler, and more better soils that we have, and cleaner as well. So moving forward, um we have market waste. We mentioned about market waste, right? They may look very fresh now, accompanied with our problems with logistics. Sometimes vegetables coming from the north going to the south, when it gets there, it's already like 60%, or let's just say 30-40% deteriorated. In a few days time, they will already be bad. So there are green skills that we could look into, how we could make use of this almost rottening vegetables. How do we do it? And if they're really truly rotten already, how do we compose them so that they become source of nutrient? They can be fertilizers. We can also squeeze enzymes from them and make use of them for food innovation. So, but then this requires some level of technology, and this is where our biochemistry, our chemical engineering, that our graduates out there in schools will be really utilized. So when the school builds that foundation of that science, and when you incorporate green skills into the learning process and in the practicality, it becomes more adaptable to and aligned to the current situation of the world. Yes. So there are different types of market waste, just like we mentioned. You can use the market waste probably to feed the livestock, like what we do in the Philippines. I used to remember when I was young, we used to put buckets and collect this waste and add it into our livestock food, you know cook them back in the farm or at home, and feed them on the animals. You can feed them on chickens. Some of these legumes, some of these peelings can be fed by chickens, fiber, so you can add it into their diet. And then those that are remaining, you can still compost them in a regular way. So there are different ways on how to compost. There are the simpler ones. If you have a backyard, you can create a small pit or a small box where you could put in there. Just remember that when we are composting, there is what we call a carbon and N ratio. So you mix the browns and the greens all together, and then you make sure that it's not too what they call this one. It's not too wet. It's not too wet. It should be a little bit dry. Later, I will show you a picture that it's not too wet. I don't know if I can do that in the chat here. Probably later, I will show you how to test if your compost is very good. So you can also do a heap style. It's a simple method. It's a large compost pile. You just keep piling it. And then it would be nice if you can put also some level of aeration there. Put some old pipes that are not being used, that are broken pipes, maybe plumbing materials that you can just incorporate in between the heap, so that in between this heap there is an aeration, continuous air is flowing, because aerobic microorganism is very key in turning this one into nutrient. So for urban gardeners, or even if you're not gardening, you can continue composting and sell your compost to gardeners around you, or just put it up in your flowers to ensure your flowers are provided with nutrition. So it's a more of a controlled environment because you're using these boxes. And in between, you can even put in cartons, wood shavings. In between, when you are sweeping your backyard, you can put in the leaves. As you're collecting the food waste from the kitchen, you can distribute them in between. So when you have like a wet and dry, just enough moist, yeah, and to make this easy, we'll introduce to you activator, so that to speed up the process of the composition. This is a microorganism that would help to, speed up the composition process of the controlled environment of compost that you have actually collected. And for those that are in the farm, I would recommend this simple in-ground method. They call it pit. Just create a pit, maybe a 3 foot, 4 foot, depending how much compost that you would like to do. It's good to put them there so that they're not so visible. A pit is also good for estate houses, like um the green zone of the estate, or a portion of your backyard, close to, yeah, portion of your backyard, whereby you put in your waste materials. So every time you dump your major waste, you can just add a few of the microbes that we have, so that they can be turning them and breaking them down. Then tomorrow next, when you are putting in another batch of waste, you can do the same. So not just that this eliminates odor, so all those methane and ammonia are broken down, it also creates a very better way of keeping your place neat, no odor, and sanitized, and easily composted. So these are the things, that the modern ways that we are doing, because before, the level of microorganisms in the air, in the water, in the soil is so much, but because they are not anymore much available, so we are now adding them into our composting process. Yeah. Okay. So moving forward, why there are composting activities that are not it fails. I mean, it does not it's not effective. Yeah. I mentioned earlier that it's poor aeration. The circulation of the oxygen is very poor. So if you're doing a heap way of compost, you need to go back there every 3 days, or every maybe weekly, to come and aerate. I mean, turn the pile. You have to turn the pile, like switch them, because when it's too warm already at the beneath, and there is no air circulation, the microbes also will have a difficulty of doing their work. So that is why I was suggesting to put like a pipe in between, so that as the pipe goes along, it builds up oxygen within the compost area. Yeah. So proper airflow is very key in composting. All right. So um this is where the microbial technology in composting would be very useful in the process. So instead of you can create them, but it will take a little while to create them. Unlike if we add in the activator is a consortium of aerobic microorganisms, whereby you just mix a spoon into 5 liters of water, and every time you do your compost, you apply them. It's like watering the composts. Yeah, so as you're watering the compost, and make sure to put your compost somewhere, there is a little bit shade or humidity, or maybe at least like close to a tree, so that the enabling condition for the microorganisms will always have that support. support for the microbes to keep on working. So every time you bring in your pile, you turn them, and then you add a little microbes, you're good to go. You're gonna enjoy composting, and there is money in compost. Later we're gonna talk more about that. How do we turn this into income? Yes. So this would enable nutrient release efficiently, and it's you'll find out that after, you can even explore it after you do your composting. You can bring a sample of it, of your compost. When you feel, when you smell that earthly smell, that is a very good compost already. You can bring it to the laboratory in any university and try to see how the nutrient. You can do a laboratory analysis of it. What is the component, how much is the N rates, the P rates, the K rates, and other micronutrients on it, and label it and tag it, and you can start selling it in communities, in your home gardens over there, most especially urban gardeners, and maybe empower your community with this one. Yes. So it accelerates the breakdown of the organic material when we are using microorganisms. And we'll make that available for you from CHC Agritech Africa, because when composting is low, it has its environmental hazards. But when it's fast, the process is fast, microbes accelerate the composition while enhancing compost quality. When you see this kind of color of compost, that is very, very amazing. You will ensure that you have better harvests and better urban gardening experience. Yeah. So we need to keep improving. If we fail in our first way of composting, it's okay. Maybe there's a combination that you need to look into. But we will just, it's a capacity building. It's skilling up. So our skills has to keep on improving. We need to learn a skill all the time. Just like when you want to learn how to drive, or how to learn how to get a language, skilling up in green skills is also very key in our day-to-day lives, and as a fallback to our career as well. Yeah. So moving forward, we mentioned it already, the beneficial microbes are safe. Okay. So they protect the environment, the human beings, even the animals. The beneficial microbes are very safe. They enhance soil health, they leave negative residue, and they are very good for agricultural productivity. Our activator is actually, I hope you can still hear me. I'm having a notification of unstable internet. Please just a thumbs up on the chat if you could still hear me. Yeah, I want to believe that I'm still audible. And these microorganisms are composed of super microbes that can, that has different functions. And how they work, we will provide you with another insight of lecture or training. Thank you so much, Mariam. And then we'll provide you more insight about it, on how to get trained on how to use and apply these microorganisms. We have our agri technicians around, and then you could also be certified as an agri technician, so that we will know how to properly apply, spray, or mix these microbes to the efficiency, to optimum yield. Yes. So we're almost done in our training. What is important is that we understand the value chain of composting. There is a opportunity in sorting the waste, because sorting from the non-organic and organic is very key. So this where the training on green skills will also come in, for those who has some skills on waste to value, whereby there are some recycling operations. So the likes of companies like, for instance, Danjati, we have the Recyclers, we have companies like that. So if you are a young person looking for jobs right now, who you want to apply for this kind of sustainable companies, you can put it in your CV and download the certificate through CHE Agritech Africa that you have gotten a composting training. It adds value to your portfolio. So like for instance, the likes of Dangote, Julius Berger, and Lafarge, they are even encouraging green skilled construction materials already, because we have green estates and ESGs that we need to follow as well. So the likes of probably if you're looking into jobs with development partners, say UNDP, GIZ, IFAD, the World Bank, or even other organizations, they look into that. What have you done? I mean, what have you gotten some certain green skills? So these are very important portfolio in your green jobs acquisition if you're trying to get into a job. However, if you are trying to just do it for your personal knowledge or train your farmers or cooperatives on it, it's also very good to be aware about this and get certified as well. And when your cooperative is also like practicing zero waste management, it attracts funding and climate finance. Climate finance, we're now providing some climate finance and sustainability financing. So these are the things that you could add value, making you have a unique value proposition. So if you're getting value for this training at this very moment, would like to see your emojis, yeah, and see how many of you have gotten value over this training already. Okay? So, as we move forward, we are close to the end. It's very important that we know how to look into opportunities. There is an opportunity in market waste. By you providing services in collecting the waste is already something great. Imagine removing that waste is money. Yes, sorting that waste, there's money there, there's an income there. So when you provide the services, so if you are a group of young people now or a group of women in your community and you don't have jobs, you don't have extra income, you can gather yourselves into a cooperative. 10 of you is already allowed to be in a cooperative. Maybe you contribute 5,000 naira for your logistics costs and start looking for the nearest market or abattoir in your area, and that should become your income generating what's it called, this one, activity. You can offer your services that we want to collect the waste. It's something that they would really appreciate, and they will even pay you for that. You can tell them that for every ton of waste that we are collecting, we are charging so amount. So, providing these services for local market waste disposal is another green job opportunity for you as an income opportunity. Okay? So another thing that we mentioned is about compost sale. When you have done your composting, you bring those compost somewhere. Even if you only have a 500 square meter area or a 1,000 square meter area, just a backyard, you can start doing this compost, incorporate our friendly microbes to make sure it's efficient. And you can start selling high quality compost to local gardeners, maybe estate developers. You can offer them all this that sells flowers along the road, and even teach others as well. You sell, not only you sell the product, you also teach them, and this creates another income opportunity. And for urban gardeners, you can have a supporting group whereby you have this urban gardening activities where you produce food in the community and come up with your own organic market. At the end of the day, income opportunities come when you know how to spot the challenges that you have in the community and know where to come in and provide products and services and solution, and that presents opportunity for you to make money. All right. Okay. So there are key job roles in composting. Just like I have mentioned earlier, you can not just be an agriculturist, you can be a sustainable climate smart agric officer. These are some of the green job or key position role. So like for example, if you know how to to install, you're an electrician or an energy technician, you can have a solar and renewable energy technician green skill. So that means to say you are more renewable, in the likes of all these energy companies, they do like it to see in your portfolio that you are doing that. So sorting the waste from the community, from the household, is very key. And look at this community. There are some of them are sorting, some of them are composting, some of them are encouraging everybody to do this, because again, if I'm only the one doing this, we cannot really achieve a cleaner environment, and we cannot talk about tourism when our environment is unclean. So for waste to value, circular economy is very key. Zero waste management, and we need to have that green mind, the green agribusiness, not just agribusiness, but a green way of doing agribusiness. So it's up to you. How do you want to make use of this skill, whether it's for your personal use, for job creation, for community impact, or for a cleaner environment? All these are benefits of composting, where it leads to a healthier and greener community. So I think this conversation has just discussion. Today is the primary or the maiden edition of our training skills. We are from CHC Agritech Africa. CHC means cultivate, harvest continuously. We are producing microorganisms, microbes, friendly microbes, both for crops, animals, and for the environment. We're in Instagram, and then you can also email us. Those that were asking for our email, I could type it for you now. And then we have a community, the green estate, sorry, the green hub community, where we discuss and we keep posting. So if you have received this message today, whoever that invited you, you could actually get back to them and know how to reach us. But you could reach us on our WhatsApp group. And if you so wish to get certified for the training today on green skills on waste management, the certificates can be downloaded, soft copy to you. It only cost it. You just have to reach to the phone numbers out there. The certificate is costing 10,000 naira. And this is because we are in partnership with an institution that provide the certification along with CHE Agritech Africa. And we have advanced courses as well on that. And on that note, I think we are ready for the discussion. In the next 15 minutes, we should be able to have a meaningful conversation. And by the way, we are also live at YouTube. So let me stop sharing over there so I can see you all. Yes. And now that I'm seeing everybody, I would like to see some. If you have questions, you can just state your hand up so we can call you one by one and see how we could entertain some questions before we end the session for today. So our next session, we would like to talk more of on how we could be skilled in doing zero antibiotics poultry production. That is our next topic. If you are into poultry and livestock, we would like to teach you on how to do green skills on zero antibiotics poultry and livestock production. That should be our next topic. So I'm gonna pause right there and see if there are questions coming from your end. And in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we should be done with the training. I hope you have gotten value wherever you are coming from, you're calling from, or watching from, or listening from. I hope you have gotten value to this training. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Yes. I can see that we have a good number of participants for the green skills today. Okay. This is question time. And if you would like to ask any question, if there are no questions, I would presume with that you have understood our training, the first maiden edition of our green skills training. Thank you so much. I can see a hand now. Mr. Olawale, please just unmute,
It
sir.
was
You're
this part
welcome.
of the story we took when we were going. Would have gotten there sweating like a goat. Oh. Thank God.
Okay. I think Mr.
Hello.
Olawale,
Okay, good afternoon.
good afternoon to
Uh,
you, sir.
all right, my name is Olawale Stephen Oni from Osun State, Nigeria. I'm representing Zimo Clan Limited. We have a platform where we train interested people in livestock farming, and I think it's livestock farming with simulation, digital simulation. So I think having CHC AGRITECH as a partner would bring that very close to green poultry farming or any type of poultry farming, any type of livestock farming that we can have. So there you can have more platforms to train more people, and they can also simulate, and they also have platforms for examinations and everything done online is decentralized. So I will like us to explore that part. Thank you very much.
That is very interesting, sir. We would be very happy to take part of that conversation and maybe know the modalities and yeah, expand the reach of our training, most especially that there is a vast opportunity in the export premium market for livestock and poultry. Let's schedule that together with others as well, or it can be an exclusive training as well for your organization so we can tailor fit it to the need and to the existing challenges of the organization. Please do connect with us, sir. If you have the email with you now and the phone number, I can still put in the phone number. I think you have it right.
Yes, I have it. I have it.
Okay, fantastic. Any other question we have? I heard Rhoda spoke earlier. Do you have a question or would you like to contribute as